You felt it before. That pull towards someone you know is bad for you. You've tried to walk away. Maybe you did walk away. And then something in you, something deeper than logic, deeper than your own best judgment, dragged you back. It doesn't make sense. You're not stupid. You're not weak. So why does it keep happening? The answer isn't in your heart. It's in your brain chemistry. And once you understand what's actually happening inside you, the whole thing stops feeling like a personal failure and starts looking like a biological trap you were never warned about. Here's what's really going on. Your brain runs on a chemical called dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It's not. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It fires not when you get something good. It fires when you expect something good might be coming. The distinction matters more than almost anything else in neuroscience. In a stable, loving relationship, your nervous system learns that safety is the baseline. Affection is consistent. You stop anticipating because you don't need to. The dopamine response quiets down. Not because anything is wrong, but because your brain is no longer scanning for reward. It already has it. In a toxic relationship, the opposite happens. Affection is unpredictable. Kindness arrives without warning. Cruelty arrives the same way. Your brain never knows which version of this person is walking through the door, and unpredictability is the single most powerful trigger for dopamine release the brain has ever evolved. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent years studying this in primates. His research showed that when rewards are given randomly, not on a schedule, not predictably, but intermittently, the dopamine response doesn't weaken, it intensifies. The brain doesn't downregulate uncertainty, it becomes obsessed with it. This is called variable reward reinforcement. It is the same mechanism casinos exploit in slot machines. It is the same mechanism that makes social media so hard to put down. And it is the same mechanism firing inside you every time someone who has hurt you suddenly becomes warm and kind. Your brain marks that warmth as the jackpot, and it starts craving the next hit. This is why you check their messages obsessively. This is why you replay every interaction, searching for meaning. Your dopamine system has been trained, without your consent, to treat this person as an unpredictable reward machine. And unpredictable reward machines are the hardest thing in the world to walk away from. But dopamine is only half of it. When you're in conflict with someone you're bonded to, your body releases cortisol. That's the stress hormone. Your heart rate rises, your thoughts narrow. Your body enters something close to a threat response. And then, when the conflict resolves, when they apologize, when they hold you, your brain floods with oxytocin. That's the bonding hormone, the one that fires when you hold a newborn, the one that makes mammals form lifelong attachments. The combination of cortisol, followed immediately by oxytocin, creates one of the most powerful neurochemical bonds a human being can experience. Trauma bonding is the clinical term. Researcher Patrick Carnes documented this pattern in depth. The way cycles of tension, rupture, and reconciliation don't just hurt people, they chemically weld them to the source of the pain. Your body isn't confused. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. It is bonding deeply to the person it perceives as the one who saved you from the storm, even when that person was also the one who made the storm. Now add one more layer. Psychologist B.F. Skinner showed in his foundational behavioral research that the behavior most resistant to extinction is behavior that was rewarded intermittently. Not never rewarded, not always rewarded, intermittently. If you press the lever and sometimes food comes out and sometimes it doesn't, you press the lever more, frantically, obsessively. The unpredictability doesn't discourage you, it drives you. You are not pressing a lever in a lab, but you are pressing a lever. Every text you send, hoping this time will be different. Every conversation you start hoping today, they'll finally hear you. Every return after a separation. You are not weak. You are running exactly the behavioral software that Skinner described. And that software was not built for modern relationships. It was built for survival. Early attachment experiences shape this system long before you ever enter a romantic relationship. Developmental psychologist Mary Ainsworth identified what she called insecure attachment styles, patterns of relating to others formed in childhood when caregivers were inconsistent, frightening, or unavailable. Children who grow up with unpredictable caregivers don't learn to distrust unpredictability. They learn to hyper-focus on it. They become exquisitely attuned to shifts in mood, tone, and behavior. They become expert readers of other people's emotional states. As adults, that same attunement feels like connection. It feels like depth. It feels like knowing someone completely. But what it often is the familiar architecture of the first bond that trained your nervous system. Chaos doesn't feel dangerous to a nervous system that grew up in chaos. It feels like home. That word, home, is doing a lot of work in your brain right now. There is also the matter of identity. The longer you stay in a high conflict relationship, the more your sense of self becomes organized around that relationship. Your thoughts center on it. Your emotional highs and lows are generated by it. Without it, there's a sudden and terrifying silence in your inner world. Psychologists call this identity enmeshment, the merging of your self-concept with the relationship itself. Leaving doesn't just feel like losing a person, it feels like losing yourself. And your brain will do almost anything to avoid that. The withdrawal from a toxic relationship has been compared, clinically, not metaphorically, to drug withdrawal. Researcher Helen Fisher used fMRI imaging to study people who had recently experienced romantic rejection. The brain regions that activated were the same regions activated in cocaine withdrawal, the craving system, the obsessive replay system, the part of the brain that cannot stop returning to a source of lost reward. You are not imagining the physical pain of this. The ache in your chest, the inability to concentrate, the intrusive thoughts, these are neurological events. Your brain is in withdrawal from a chemical cocktail it became dependent on, and the person who supplied that cocktail was also the person who hurt you. That is the cruelest part of the trap. So what do you do with all of this? Understanding the mechanism doesn't immediately dissolve it, but it changes your relationship to it. When you feel that pull, that irrational gravity back towards someone who has proven they will hurt you, you can recognize it for what it is. Not love proving itself. Not evidence that this person is your person. It is a dopamine system searching for the next variable reward. It is cortisol and oxytocin running an ancient bonding program in a context it was never designed for. The pull is real, but the pull is not the truth. Healing is not about forcing yourself to stop feeling the craving. It is about building a new nervous system baseline, slowly, with consistency, with safe people, with situations where the reward is predictable and the kindness is not a surprise. It is about teaching your dopamine system that stable can also be interesting, that safety can also be felt, that you are allowed to stop scanning. This takes time. It takes more time than you want it to. But the brain that learned to crave the chaos is also the brain that can learn something different. The same neuroplasticity that built the trap can dismantle it. Tonight, if you feel that pull, remember this. What you are craving is not the person. You are craving the dopamine spike that comes right before the next hit of warmth after the next wave of pain. You are craving the slot machine, not the prize. And the slot machine was never going to pay out the way you needed it to. The first time you felt that pull towards someone who kept hurting you, you thought it meant they were the one. Now you know what it actually meant. And that knowledge, quietly, is the beginning of the way out.